Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another intriguing woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hello, thank you so much, Gertrude, for allowing me to share my story. Again, my name is Junne Esguerra, and I'm from San Diego, California. I was a caregiver to my mother for nearly 5 years. And when you think of caregiving, and by the very definition, caregiving is a service to others. But what I learned through my journey is that caregiving for others can be very much a service to self as it is for others. And please allow me to share how I came to understand this. As a first generation Filipino, there's a lot of cultural nuances that are included in my story, and I hope that these resonate with you. My mother had a series of 5 strokes during the COVID era, which left her bedbound and requiring full assistance with all of her daily activities. She could not walk, she could not sit up without assistance, and she required physical assistance with her feedings, her bathroom routine. And we tried as a family various options for care. One of the things that we did not want to do as a family is have to have her live outside of a family home and place her in a assisted living or skilled nursing facility. We tried moving her into my sister's house, which left everyone utterly exhausted. And it really strains the relationship between mother and child. It strained the relationship within my own marriage. And honestly, it strained the relationship with myself. As my family and siblings struggled with the idea, what is the best way to provide care for our mother? It had to be a skilled nursing facility. Her care was greater than what we could take on. And as a Filipino daughter, that felt like the ultimate betrayal and failure. But because of her medical needs, we had to choose to place her in a skilled nursing facility. And at that time, when we placed her in a skilled nursing facility, I did not consider myself a caregiver because someone was primarily taking care of all of her needs. Early on, when we placed her in skilled nursing, they said she started not to eat. She refused to eat, and they wanted to place a G-tube in her, a tube that would be inserted into her gastrointestinal system, which they would pump food in. This went directly against her wishes, but she lost nearly 20 pounds in 2 months, leaving her at nearly 80 pounds. We struggled on what to do, and we knew something had to change. So my sister and I, who lives fairly close as well, decided to schedule times that we would go and feed her. We were visiting her more and bringing her food that she would want to eat. So my sister and I would schedule Monday through Sunday who was going to feed her. And at this time, I still did not consider myself a caregiver, but we did this for 3.5 years. And anyone who's experienced family caregiving understands that or feels that there's this constant turbulence of mixed emotions, glee, sadness, fatigue, guilt, and selfishness. This whirlwind of emotions can wreak havoc on one's mental health, physical health, and lead to burnout, not necessarily just in one of their components of what it is to be a woman. It can cause burnout in caregiving itself. It can overwhelm relationships, and it can cause some turmoil within your professional life. So these are all things that family caregivers, I feel, can resonate with and understand, but still we persist because as a caregiver, sometimes there are no other options, especially with low to mid-income people who cannot afford constant caregiving. As a Filipino daughter, there is the cultural expectation that we place on ourselves to be that good, dutiful child. I still carry with me a lot of guilt that I was not doing enough. I was not giving enough of myself. But let me go back to what I've learned about the process of caregiving, especially in the last week of my mother's life. When we went to visit my mother on August 1st in her skilled nursing facility, we, meaning her care team and my family, had noticed there had been a significant decline in her overall demeanor, how she was carrying herself, and she again refused to eat and take in fluids. Her care team felt that it was only a matter of time. So we as a family decided to move her into the family home so we can provide 24-hour care to her during this time where she was transitioning to the next phase of life in terms of going on to the great beyond. In that week, we learned so much. We shared the time as family. We told stories. We told jokes just to see if we could get a little bit of a response from her. Because at this point, she was on oxygen, but no other medications. It was comfort care. She was non-communicative. She was non-verbal. And we just wanted to present an opportunity of a joyous, calm, peaceful environment so she can pass with love and dignity surrounded by family. This is where I learned I was actually a caregiver for 5 years. This is where I learned that there is no definition of caregiver that doesn't apply. Even though someone is the technically primary caregiver, meaning that they are in a skilled nursing facility, that doesn't diminish one's role as a caregiver. I learned that I would do most anything just to get a smile from my mother. And I learned the power of smell. During this time, we were cooking as a family, we were gathered, and we noticed that her nose would tingle a little when she could smell familiar foods. And one of the greatest responses was the smell of nail polish. My mother loved to have her nails done. And when I could not let her go to the great beyond without her nails done. I felt that I would be betraying who she was as a person. So when I opened that nail polish, there was a visible change in just her overall being. There was a little bit more of a glow. There was a change in her overall expression on her face. These were all things that I knew that I was doing the best that I could for my mother. And in the quiet times at night when it was just my mother and myself, this is when I learned the greatest things about being a caregiver. I learned that in terms of caregiving is an opportunity for us to be able to heal the things within ourselves. And I would encourage my family and others to look at it as that from that point of view. Yes, we are a caregiver. It takes great sacrifice. It can take a toll on other aspects of what it is to be a woman, but it also can be a healing journey if we allow it to be. And that is the greatest takeaway that I learned as a caregiver, and I hope to share with others.
Junne, thank you so much for sharing your story. It is challenging when our parents come to that end of life stage in, finding the resources, the means to make life comfortable for them until they transition. So how did caregiving reshape your understanding of self-care?
Caregiving helped me understand that self-care is not selfishness. There is a reason why when we go on airplanes, they say to put your oxygen mask on before you help others with their oxygen mask. If we aren't able to care for ourselves during this time, we are unable to adequately care for others. Yes. But then also to understand that through this fatigue, through this emotional turbulence, that there is something beautiful that can come out of that if you allow yourself that process and that journey. In our lifetimes, it is only a matter of time where we will either need caregiving for ourselves or we will be a caregiver to someone else. So this process has helped me understand what other people are going through, never to judge someone's situation or how they may even present themselves during a work meeting. You never know what someone else is going through. And then also, caregiving has helped me understand the type of person that I want to be and how to carry myself moving forward. Caregiving has taught me grace and understanding. It taught me how to advocate for myself. And then it also made me a better person in terms of being able to anticipate needs, solve problems, remembering details, and tracking the pieces of caregiving is in essence a full-time job. So it also reminded me to take pride in the accomplishments that I have been able to, what I've been able to achieve as a woman. To pat ourselves on the back for everything that we do. So these are some of the small takeaways that I have given myself that has made me more an enriched person and an enriched woman.
Oh, I love that. Now, I come from the African culture, which sounds very similar to Filipino culture in terms of daughters' responsibilities to their mothers. So, what cultural beliefs or personal beliefs did you have to confront during this experience?
So I am the middle child. My in being the middle daughter in a Filipino culture has very specific expectations. First daughter is supposed to become educated and achieve, take care of the family in a financial way, because they're the first to be able to go to school, to get a job. Second daughter is the expectation is to support the elder family needs. And that that is what I understood my role to be.
Mm,
Um, I My father lived with me, and I took in my father before he passed. Um, the expectation was that I was going to be everything and anything to my mother as she needed it.
mm,
But with this type of mentality and this great respects of responsibility that we sometimes put on ourselves to respect our elders, um, sometimes we have to reframe that
yeah,
to what our experience is, what our societal capabilities are, and have that understanding that where you are in the world and the time you are in the world you may not be able to live up to that expectation, but that is okay. Not to I've had to learn not to uh, create this unachievable bar of success on how to be the dutiful daughter, how to be a good Filipino daughter,
yeah.
um, and
That's
to work that
mhm.
out as a conversation with my mother. Um, am I disappointing you? Is this still okay? Because especially at the end of life, we want to make sure, or at least I wanted to make sure that I was honoring my mother and she went with peace and I was at peace with what I was able to do for her.
Hmm. Wow, it is challenging. So, you said that caregiving can be an act of self healing. How did you come to that realization?
My mother's journey to her final transition took several years. And rather than allowing myself to sit in that uncertainty and to sit in that feeling of failure, I in order for me to preserve myself, I had to do a lot of self-reflection and look at that mirror of, is this the legacy that I want to pass on
Mm,
to my daughter? Is this the legacy and understanding that I want to pass on to my nieces, the younger generation of Filipinos in our family? Um, and how can I use my experience to be settled within myself, but then also to give a good example of what caregiving can mean to others. I did
yeah.
not want to put on um, this struggle for my daughter, who really was very close to her grandmother, and we are very close as well. So I
Wow.
use that as the starting point. How can I reframe my struggle, my fatigue, my burnout? Um, and I looked at myself and I looked at parts of me that needed healing. And a part of the biggest part of that was, how can I honor my mother, my culture, and still provide the services and care? And what that took was, again, a lot of reflection, a lot of journaling, a lot of conversations with my mother when she could speak, and to my siblings.
Right.
And a, I don't want to say an abandonment, but um, a letting go slowly of the guilt that I was just not good enough.
Wow. It is challenging. Very, very challenging. Now, How do you navigate that guilt that often accompanies caregiving decisions?
Well, for me, I have a unique circumstance in that I work for a nonprofit organization.
Mhm.
It's called the San Diego Seniors Community Foundation, and it's supporting seniors, older adults in the San Diego region. And I honor my mother and my caregiving experience through my work in trying to build a more resourced and engaged um, network of support for our older adults
Mm.
in my community, to if I can make it a little bit easier for older adults to live with dignity, if I can make it a little bit easier for people to find resources, for caregivers to find resources and understand that they're not alone, then I've achieved my goals. And so I really put this effort into my work now, knowing that this work can benefit my community as a whole. And that is the truest respect that I can give to my parents and my elders, is creating an environment for older adults to thrive and to live with dignity.
That's beautiful. So, in what ways did this experience transform your relationship with your siblings and family?
During the week that my mother was in the family home, we did not want to cause um, any spark ups of
Mm.
um, raised voices or anger or frustration or arguments. So my siblings and I had to learn how to communicate to each other and really hear what we were saying,
Mm.
to identify that some of this comes with the words come with fatigue, come with burnout, but that is not a reflection of how I feel about my siblings. It is a symptom of the circumstance that we are all going through. And let us move forward with that understanding. Let's move forward with calm voices and the grace to forgive ourselves and the grace to understand that my sibling is going through something similar, and
Yeah.
I cannot judge their tone of voice. I can't get angry at, I need a minute, let's revisit this. So
Mm.
it taught us how to communicate to each other, um, because we did not want to have an environment around my mother that she was not going to be happy or calm. So we moved forward. We have moved forward as a family with that communication style. And trust
Mm.
me, it's not always perfect, but we have at least been able to say, give me a minute, let's revisit this, because I want a better understanding of how I'm feeling.
Mm. I love that. Wow. Now, you talk about legacy. What parts of your mother live on through you today, do you think?
My mother was always the one who was bringing food to um, our friends, family, and neighbors who may have been going through hard times. I distinctly remember when we were living in the Philippines, my mother took me to an orphanage, and we would volunteer at the orphanage, bringing food, clothing, and just sharing our time
Yeah.
with those in the Filipino orphanage. She taught me the value of service. And that is the legacy that I carry on with me today. One of the things that I have been able to heal within myself is, as a younger woman, I thought, oh man, I don't want to be anything like my mom. My mom is X, Y, and Z. And as I have grown and matured, I have accepted the parts of me that are very much like my mother. She has influenced me to become the person who I am today, who believes in true acts of service. And that is how I honor my mother's legacy. In that, while money is necessary to live, it is the connections that we have with our family, our friends, and our community, and how we serve others that is carries us on and what people will remember. And that is just one of the ways that I hope to honor my mother's legacy. And then also to share her stories with my nieces who are too young to remember who she was. So that way her life lives on.
No internet connection dropped there, June.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, you're back.
Yes.
I think the connection dropped for a minute.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. So let's finish off our interview with two last questions. In the first one, I'm going to teleport you back to the younger you, that young woman who was faced with caring for her mom, juggling work, family, etc. You could go back and give her 3 nuggets of wisdom. Based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those 3 nuggets of wisdom be?
Wow, that is such a powerful question. I feel like I think the first nugget of wisdom is that what it is to be a woman is different for everyone, depending on your circumstance, depending on where you are living and the time in which you are living. My mother did the best she could as an immigrant to the United States, and not fully understanding the way life worked around here and having to navigate that as a first generation. That is something that I think my mother and I have learned together, is that what it is to be a woman, a successful woman, is different for everyone. The second thing is that your family and friends are a true source of support. There is no shame, and it doesn't diminish your abilities, and it shouldn't diminish your pride in asking for help. We are not an island, and caregiving is hard, and you need others. And the third thing is, it is okay to say, I need a minute for myself. I can't take this on right now. I will come back when I am a little bit more refreshed, and I just need a minute. Those are the 3 takeaways that I feel are the greatest things that I've learned from this experience, and that I hope that my mother and the future women around me understand.
Oh, I love that. Now, is there anything else I should have asked you and I didn't?
I think that advocacy for older adults and understanding that being a senior, being an elder, comes with wisdom. It should come with respect and understanding. And I hope to diminish ageism and the thoughts that this is the end of life, and you're just kind of waiting. Older adulthood can be that next phase of, let me redefine myself. Let's work on things as we want to grow and build ourselves. Especially as women, we are constantly redefining ourselves. So let's older adulthood and being a senior citizen or an elder, let's take on that new role with an understanding that we are here, we are not invisible, and that we still have a lot to provide to our families, our communities, and society as a whole.
Yes.
That's how I work within my everyday life, and that is the mission that I hope to continue, and that I continue through my work.
Fantastic. Junne, thank you so much for coming online and sharing your story with our community today. You've really imparted some nuggets of wisdom that we should all remember. When you're caring for someone else, remember to take care of you as well.
Yes.
I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Junne, thanks again for the interview.
Thank you so much, Gertrude. Appreciate the opportunity.
Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.